Pleasure to meet you all at last. And I'm back again with What Is That? This is the type of Q&A that gears audiences the answers to questions, but only if the question starts with these two words. Why is that? This way it can correlate with the title of the show itself. Q&A sessions these days, they're pretty much just generic, and they are just traditional. They're traditional, generic, conventional, whatever is synonymous with the trend, whatever word that I could use that is synonymous with it in today's terms, I could pretty much just do it right away. Anyhow though, we got ourselves another few questions coming up, but first let's get to this one here. This one really caught my eye and it seems really titillating to try to answer, but anyways, here. This is the question right here. Why is that you have the ability to speak multiple languages? Why is that you are septilingual? And of course, he is talking about the fact that at one point I had my bio set to where I had multiple different types of talents, of which septilingual was a part of it. Septilingual means 7 languages. Septa is a stem for 7, and lingual is the term for languages. 7 languages is apparently what I've been speaking for more than a year. My most recent language out of all of them was Italian. Yes, it's Italian. Just watch this. Ci fai? Io non ci know on Twitter. That right there is proof right there that I'm able to speak Italian. And of course I've evolved to the point at which I no longer have to use a translation type of software just to try to translate the language I was using. And of course, Italian is only one of the 7 languages I'm able to speak. The second of which, however, is what I'm currently speaking right now, American. And the other 5, well, they're also pretty foreign, they're also pretty adventurous for me to use. And I'm hoping that I can get to use them at any given point in time at which I encounter someone who is unable to speak American, but of which speaks his own native language. The other 5 I have are Spanish, Japanese, Russian, French, and Norwegian. Out of all of them, the hardest I've had experience with, well, the longest experience I've had by far, was indeed Spanish. I would indeed want to go to Spain to test it out on people who in fact speak Spanish and not American. I would indeed want to try to get as much experience as possible before I head on over to the countries in which they originated. Russia had Russian, Japanese would be Japan, Spanish would belong to Spain, French would belong to France, Norwegian belongs to Norway, and American belongs to America, of course. But, see, Italian, however, is probably my most recent language that I started speaking in. Around the time where I started speaking in, which was around February or March of this year, I could just say for myself that I'm actually putting some really good progress of the God-given talent of mine that I got right now. An ability to speak multiple languages is absolutely hard for many to do, but the processing power in my brain has allowed me a lot better experience than absolutely anyone else could ever achieve. This is because I have the ability to learn absolutely quickly. Probably even faster than how fast a cheetah would run. But anyhow though, if I said anything right now, this is a warning right now, because if anybody would get highly offended at an American speaking the native language that belongs to its origin, then try not to watch this part, because this is going to be the part at which I'm going to speak every language that I currently speak today towards the camera in a nonchalant fashion. 私はคุณだもとほとほいるかと思う。America is a lugar feliz e aqui está. YouTube diet need bullshit popularnosti chem kadalibo. Harup será enjoy formidable e visto enjoy. Lagi main video ganun ang kanalaman. Sila do ite evigar noon ev noen when video. So there you have it. A man like myself who has plenty of experience working with different languages in the world. Got myself some really good examples that I've got to you. I seem to be doing really well today even, bringing upon multiple languages in my repertoire to speak out to anybody who wants to learn different languages. I'd be more than just willing to teach anybody about it. The fact is though, is that sometimes I tend to do my work solo, and I tend to do it more efficiently whenever I'm alone, in which I have a much better environment and a much bigger opportunity to concentrate even better. Because of course the Accutane in the system right now is just messing with my memory very badly to the point at which I will encounter amnesia at some point. That's not an over-exaggeration right there. Anyhow though, there's plenty of other languages I would want to try to learn at some point by the end of this decade. December 31st, 2019 would mark this decade end. And then onwards, January 1st, 2020 and onwards is where I would want to have even more experience in languages written on me in my repertoire, no questions asked, no excuses even. Some other languages I'd be trying to learn by the end of this decade would probably include Icelandic, Dutch, Arabic, and Hebrew. And yes, I have used some software out there to try to learn about it much better. But of course, I even had a cultural class about it back in high school. It taught me a lot that I needed to know based on European languages, Asian languages, languages around the world in general. And I have gotten to know about Norwegian, Russian, Hebrew, and Arabic, and other languages out there that I have not spoken yet. But of which, out of all the languages I currently speak, Russian was by far the hardest. That of which it was because of its symbolistic nature with its writing and the like. It became really hard for me to translate at first, but eventually I got to study the shape of each symbol, like these two here. And that of which it allowed me to translate those words pretty darn easily afterwards. Because with the nature of the curves, the nature of the squares, the shapes in general seem to show what kind of word that they're trying to tell us, what each symbol would represent in the Russian language. As with other languages though, they just use letters similar to our own. And that of which it did eventually become much easier for me to translate then. But with symbolic type languages, including Japanese, Russian, Hebrew, Arabic, and the like, they were much harder for me to translate that. And of course, I had to have much more time to study these symbolic type languages and to find out how to translate them thoroughly. For now though, I already got two of which, and that was Japanese and Russian. With other languages that I am going to want to study at some point, there's going to be a much bigger repertoire for me speaking more languages than ever. Octolingual, nolingual, decilingual, undislingual. No matter how many languages I am going to speak by the time I die, I am probably going to live on as one of the best linguistics experts ever. And I can't guarantee that by the end of the decade, or even the end of this half century, 2050 that is, 2000 to 2050, around that time. I cannot really guarantee that I am going to live on as one of the biggest linguistics experts out there by the end of that time. But give it even more time to just 55 years even, and we could have ourselves quite a big experienced person like myself going out there speaking languages like crazy. Because I already have 7 right now, and I am actually going to have 8 by the end of the year, which I'm hoping it is going to be Icelandic or something. Probably just going to be Icelandic is what I'll choose then. I'll probably start within about 2 months, and I'll spend a little more time with Italian. But by then, I'll be ready to go. And I'm sure as heck hoping that I have myself quite a big collection to which I won't lose my memory. Of course, because the Accutane is just messing around with my memory, like I've said before sometime earlier in this episode. But, again, there will be quite some time left to take my Accutane medications. To continue with all of this, really, because this has just been disastrous for countless times to which the taste has been awful. And Accutane was there to help. Lips, however, had to pay the price, and lots of my body had to pay the price for it, including my joints, which Accutane had a lot of side effects to it. So many different bad symptoms that took place. That doesn't correlate with the question, though. The question was, why is that I speak multiple languages? Simply put, I just do. I'm a gifted man, born during Generation X, during the very last segment of Generation X, and therefore, I've got myself a much bigger advantage. With millennials these days, all they want to do is they want to ride around on Swagways, they want to sport expensive gear, including smartphones and game consoles, and they also want to listen to modern day music, which is going to include rap and hip hop, which suck it. Forget it. As a Generation X man, I'm not going to listen to that crap from today's time. Or even any of that stuff. I prefer that. Just not rap and hip hop in general. Or metal music. None of that. But anyhow, though, I'm really going to go around here speaking with all the languages I can speak in. And it's time to close off on this episode. Vestir Vilsamera, Ashrevo Kesara Aime, Shikomo, Commentary, Seguimi Sao Social Media, y quedate en los lados de Hollywood.